All right, so here's our first meeting. Okay, so pretty much like I sent out to everybody, told you basically some of the materials you have to get to start off with. Some of you, have it, didn't get it, whatever, but we'll go through some of the basics. So Sculpey is the stuff that we're using. That's the stuff that we mainly start off with. It comes in a box very similar to this if you haven't found it in your store. This is the gray stuff. And like I said, that's firm and there's definitely uses for it, but I prefer the pink stuff. It's just easier to build up and it's a little bit softer, harder to work the real, crazy detail in, but over time you'll definitely get the hang of it. Um, so, like I said, Sculpey is the main stuff. And then as far as like, baking it and all that stuff, those are things that you could definitely find on the forum or hit me up for. Um, and then I also went over with you the other important thing is the dowels and the stands. So it's like what Tanner's got here, and kind of like what I've got here. So just go and pick up a dowel like this, chopping it off so that you've got handles, and that's all it is. It's just basically a handle for you to hold. These are for like your busts and your head sculpts and stuff like that. So like I said, cut the dowel, drill out one side so that you can put a little piece of wire to just stick it in your base and it'll stand up. Drill a couple holes in the top so you can put your wire to put like this part so that like once you start making your bust and your head, you'll be able to do that. So that's for the base and the dowel holder. As far as the wire goes, so like a couple you were asking me about, this is generally the gauge that I get. And you can see all the aluminum that's inside of there. And all I do is just very carefully, I just take a knife like this and I split it and I take some pliers and I take the black coating off and you get all the aluminum on the inside and then it is, and then I just unravel it. And like I said, at the craft store, Steve said that he already went and he bought some from like Hobby Lobby, like the craft store. This is the same stuff. I mean, this amount, can cost you, maybe 15 bucks or something at the hobby store. I mean, this whole thing, this is about, 4 times that amount. And this all cost me $2 or $3. So I mean, it's like I said, it's like $100 worth of like aluminum for, just dirt cheap. So this is the stuff that I typically use for the main part of the body. And if you're doing a really big piece that you need like a really big full skeleton, you'll just fold it over and you'll twist it around and basically make like a thicker piece, for your wire skeleton. Generally, you won't need that though. You'll just need one, one side of it. As far as the wire goes, what you want mostly is you mostly want to try to get aluminum wire because it's easy to cut. And later on, as you start cutting up your sculpts, which is something that, we'll get into later, why you would do that. Steel is just, if you find steel wire, it's hard to bend, it's hard to work with, and aluminum is just so much easier. The only exception to that is like floral wire, again, which is really cheap. And this is the stuff that once you've got your skeleton, so we've set it up, and we've got like, the area that's going to be like, say, the head. And let's just say it goes out, if we're doing like a bust like the ones that you saw at the show. So it's just an armless bust. I'm going to bend the wire. And again, you could use pliers. I'm just doing this for quickness sake. So I've got the area that's going to be the head, and I've got the area that's going to be the shoulders. You would use something like the floral wire, or Harbor Freight has this spool of welding wire, but it's aluminum. It lasts forever, and it's really great stuff. You take some of this, and you cut some off, and then all you do is you wrap it around your larger area. And that's going to help the clay hold on to the sculpt. If you try to put clay just on this straight part of the wire, it's going to, as you're working, it's going to slip off. And what'll happen is your sculpt on top of your wire, is just going to get super loose, and it'll essentially just kind of like after a while fall off. So you always need to put something around the wire to give the clay something to hold on to. Generally, you're going to use smaller wire like this, or you're going to wrap it really tightly in foil. And the bigger your sculpt, if you've got something really, really big, you really want to bulk that out mostly with foil, and just do like a layer of like Sculpey on top. The thicker the Sculpey, the more likely it is to crack. Plus, aluminum foil is a whole lot cheaper than the clay, so you don't want to waste a lot of your clay if you can avoid it. So
what? The 4 wire also.
What's that?
The 4 wire.
Yeah. What about it?
Yeah, I'm saying like for the wrapping of the armature. Did you show that also?
Yeah. Well, it's the same. So exact same principle as this. It's just a thinner wire. So so either one is really fine. I like them both. I just like using the aluminum again because it's a lot easier to like work with. So that's that. So once you've got kind of your wire and you've got your little post, all I tend to do is if I've got my holes already drilled into the top of my dowel, you know, I'm just gonna put those down in there, and I'll use my pliers and I'll kind of get it down in there so it's got a good sturdy hold. And then we'll do like this, like we'll wrap it like in the aluminum foil or something like that. And that's what we're going to start our sculpt on. So that's the basics on armatures like this. We'll go into things like full body armatures later on. And that's going to be, and you can also see, so something like this. So here's another head sculpt that I did. So there's like a Hulk sculpt that I've done. And you can see, so I've got my dowel, I've got the little thing underneath to kind of stick in the base. Got the foil underneath, and then that's just the Sculpey on top. So, you know, but that's kind of like what you're looking at when you're working on it. As far as like a full body thing later on, I'm going to show you how to make an armature on the inside, and this is just plumbing pipe that again you get from Home Depot or something. Nothing that we use is like exclusive, like that you can only get certain places, really, except for the clay. But everything else you can pretty much get from Home Depot, Lowe's, anything like that. But when you're doing a full figure, you've got to make like the skeleton for the inside, and that's going to be your armature to hold it up. And this way, if you're doing a full figure, he won't go side to side. He won't be moving. He'll stay really stable, and you'll be able to do anything with it. And you know, it's not going to go anywhere. And you really need that when you're working on something, because you don't want to be you want to be touching it with your hands as little as possible. You mostly want to be using your tools and stuff. And then later on with a bigger sculpt, eventually I'll go over with you guys how you'll bake this and stuff like that. Something like this, generally, I just have to lay it down in the oven and bake it in the oven. And with all the Sculpey, that's another thing. All of this bakes in the oven. So when you first bake it, it's all non-toxic. You'll eventually recognize the smell when Sculpey's baking. So if one of you throws something in and your wife, husband, whoever comes downstairs and says like, you know, what's the smell? It doesn't stink up the whole house, but you can definitely smell it. And then it generally goes away after maybe 15, 20 minutes. Again, there's no smoke or anything like that. And I will go over with you in the videos I go over it, but you only bake it at 250. Don't go really higher than that, and you really shouldn't go much lower than that. 250 to me is the ideal temperature. And then you want to go for everything at least an hour, no less than that. Most of the time you go more. I mean, I put sculpts in there for 5, 6, 8 hours that I'll let them cook. And that's the nice thing about this stuff, is that at that temperature, they won't burn. All they'll do is they'll just get darker brown, darker, like an orange brown, and that's good. The darker brown it gets, the more the polymer clay kind of like crystallizes. It becomes more like rock, and it's just really good for it. So you definitely want to stick with that. So that's the armatures. That's the wire. And then the super important thing that we're going to get into eventually is I want to go over with all of you, you guys all need to start getting to the point where you can start making your own tools. It's like I told many of you standing at the table, the tools that they sell at the store are just terrible. They're not meant for little things like this. Most of them are meant for bigger pieces, and when you're trying to work on something small, it's just not good. So you've got to make your own tools. And the main thing that you need for that is, I tell everybody, try to get you need lots of sandpaper. You need a Dremel really helps. If you've got a Dremel, it's awesome because there's bits on there that just grind through stuff. And then what you're looking for is you're just looking for really good wood. So a couple things that I'll do to get the good wood is I will buy the tools from the store that are like this because the wood is really good, but I will not use it the way it is. I will shave it, break it down, cut it, get it the way I want it. Another thing is, this is 1/2 of a wooden spoon from Walmart. And I picked it up because you could just tell that it's really good, solid, like hard wood. Same thing with this. I'll cut this up, and I go through this on one of the videos. I cut this up into strips, and then it's just a lot of dremeling it with a sand drum, hand sanding it, and then you kind of go over it. In the end, you can smooth it with some wax paste, like you can get for floor wax or something like that. Or the other thing that I like to do is I'll just take Sculpey and I'll just wrap Sculpey around it and leave it for like a day or so. And there's oil in the Sculpey, and it soaks into the wood, and it gives it like a really nice smooth finish. And eventually you'll get something that has almost like, it's wood, but it's got kind of like a mirrored finish to it. You can see that. And so pretty much all of my tools are handmade. And then the other thing that I've used before, and Gannon's got some of this. Lance took a class, Jim took a class. I don't know if you guys still have it, but I made everybody in one of my other classes tools out of bamboo. I cut some bamboo up, and bamboo is actually really good too. It's a nice hard wood. So there's no set rule for it. It's just, don't use anything like, soft wood. No soft woods at all. It's all going to be really nice and hard. And as you move along, you'll start figuring out, like, you're trying to do eyeballs or you're trying to do hair or something and you don't have the right tool. I stop and I just I'll make myself a tool in half an hour to an hour. I'll just make what I need. So a lot of my tools that I've got, they're very small. They're almost like toothpicks. But it's just on the ends of them. You can see it's kind of like a spoon sort of on one end. This one's got like a real fine point to it. At some point, maybe what I'll do is on the forum, I'll get everybody who's been a member, who started making their own tools. A lot of people already have in their own threads, but I know Gannon, Amir, Adam, Jim, everybody started making their own tools. And you can kind of see what everybody else has done so far a little bit too. And then Tanner's got a whole collection of his own tools here too. So that's with the flat wood tools. And then as far as the other tools, the other two things that you're mainly going to use is you're going to mainly use loops and rakes. Loops are like brass wire, and it's like guitar string basically. It's different gauges of guitar string. And all I do is I show you how to do this in the video. I bend it over to the shape I want. I put it in the brass tube, and I'll crimp the end of it, and I might put some glue or epoxy putty or something like that to keep it. But what the loops are for is when you're working on a sculpt, the loops, you kind of can scoop out areas. So if you're doing things like whatever it is, it's eyeballs, it's you're just trying to take down some of the form. These kind of get in there and scoop it out. So I'll do shapes like, you'll see shapes like this. This is a bigger one, a bigger loop, but I've got different sizes. You'll see it's crossed over like that, or it's a squared off like that. Then it's a little bit pointy like that. I've got this one that's 2 different sizes for circles. This one that's more of a triangular one. So you kind of just come up a variety of them. Those are great. And then rakes, the last thing with rakes are guitar string, but they're the heavy gauge, so they've got like the bumps in it. It's kind of like the wire wrapped around a wire. Let me see. I'm trying to get it so you can see really good. Um, so you can kind of see I got some clay in there, but anyway, so it's got kind of like a texture to it. And what these are for is, this is a squared off one, but I used rounded ones too. Once you've got your shape on there and you want to kind of start smoothing it out so that it's not so bumpy, you'll run the rake over it, and that starts smoothing out the surface. And you know, that's the stage just before we go to the brushing stage, which is brushing it down with like alcohol, well, lighter fluid first and then alcohol afterwards. The lighter fluid makes it like really takes it down, makes it a lot smoother, but it leaves the surface real gummy. And the alcohol you brush on afterwards, and it basically evaporates off like the lighter fluid and gives you back that nice matte finish again. I'm not going to go over that tonight. That's a little bit like further as we go in. But once you guys get to that stage, we'll definitely help with that. So those are the basic stages like for us to get started. So let me ask you right now. So at this point, right now, who has any questions? Anybody?
Larry does.
Okay.
He asked if you should get an oven thermometer to get an exact temperature, or if because ovens can vary quite a bit, or is just ballpark okay?
Ballpark's fine. If as long as you're somewhere between 225 and 275. I mean, you know, as long as you hit it right around 250, but it's not exact, you know. So I know people that go less, and I know people that go 275. I don't like to go 275 because I've had pieces that have kind of had little parts that have bubbled up. And then the 225, I'm always worried that it's not going to cure completely. So 250 for me is like the ideal thing. But yeah, you can kind of ballpark it a little bit.
Okay, and one other thing, one that called like while you were starting, so forgive me if you answered this, but the wood that the block goes into, that the dowel goes into,
yeah,
like I know that you have to bake it, and certain woods do better than others. So if you just want to talk about that, if you haven't.
Absolutely. So I like to use poplar. So poplar is my favorite one. If you get some other types of wood, they might like warp and bend after a while. Don't ever use something like pine. Pine will, the sap in it will leach out and it'll drip in your oven. It'll smoke up your oven and everything else. So you can use something like oak. Again, it goes back to the really hard woods, but I like poplar. And I'll get, again, Home Lowe's Depot, you can get these like 4-foot planks that you could use for shelving. That's what I like to get, and then I'll just cut them up into little pieces like this. So I'll have a whole bunch like this, and then I'll just drill a whole bunch of holes in them. And these things have been baked like repeatedly. But again, these are just like your stands. So when so when you're done working, you just kind of set it down, and and it's like I told some of you also at the table. The nice thing about these sculpts is that it's not going to dry out. I mean, it'll dry out after, like you'll start to see it drying out, and it'll start getting like cracks in it after a year or more. But even then, it's still workable. All you have to do when it starts getting a crack is basically push in the crack with your tool and just smooth it over again. It's just from the clay kind of drying out, but it doesn't fully dry out. The only time it's done is when you stick it in the oven. So you could start working on something tonight, set it up on the shelf. Next week, come back to it. Just keep working on it. It'll just sit up there just fine. So there's no problems there. So.
Troy just gave the abbreviated version of this. We've got longer versions of everything that he just went over videotape, because he went over things like also the tools you need to get, like buzz saws and drills, Dremels, and we have links where you can buy all of that stuff as well. Because like for me, I was intimidated by this because like even as a guy, like I am not very handy, so I had to go to Home Depot or Lowe's and figure out how to do all that stuff. But but it's really not that intimidating. You have to get a few power supplies right up front, and then I bought cheap stuff. I didn't buy anything expensive. I bought like bottom of the rung, and it gets the job done. So.
Yeah, and like I said, I encourage everybody, make sure, try to go through the videos, and they will be easier once I index them. That if you go through them, I'll start putting that up, so then you'll be able to kind of go back and say, what was that thing he said about, like cooking, or what was it he said like about, epoxy putty or whatever it is. Like each of you is going to have plenty of questions, and again, like I said, you're never bugging me. Hit me up and let me know, and I'll get you through it. And like I said, once you get the basics down, you're going to be able to run with it. You're going to be mostly on your own, and your questions will get fewer and fewer and more specific. So, but again, anything that I just covered now, anybody got any questions like just with their own getting started?
I do. Can you hear me?
Uh-huh. Who is it?
This is Tammy.
Hi, Tammy.
We've already bought like 2 things of the Sculpey clay at Hobby Lobby. Where can we get it cheaper? Because we're already into this. Like these last 2 nights, we can't stop doing it.
Okay, that's great. So, so that's another link that I've got up there. But if you write this down, it's Creative Wholesale. So creativewholesale.com, and that's where I order all of mine from. It's the cheapest place to buy it. And I buy it in the 28-pound box. Now, you all won't need that, but you guys can buy like, there's like an 8-pound box, and even that's a lot cheaper. So, so you're definitely, but even for the smaller blocks, it's cheaper than buying it at your local art store. So,
Okay.
And
once you bake it, what types of paint can be used to paint it?
so once you bake it, I prime it with, can you run over to the side right over there and grab me the can without a cap? Right there, yep. So this is what I like to prime it with. I prime it just with Auto Primer, Rust-Oleum. This is like one of the best primers. So you'll take your piece and you'll bake it. And eventually I'm going to show you kind of like what I had on my table. Eventually I'm going to show you how to make copies of all your sculpts. But for now, if you guys finish something and you just want to bake it the way it is and paint it, that's totally fine. So once it's finished baking, you'll prime it with this, and or something like this, another primer, but this is the one I like to use. Let it dry. And then I use the cheap paints from like, again, the hobby store. I use Folk Art, Americana, like that whole tube section where they're all like,
Craft paint? Just a basic craft paint?
Basic craft paint. That's what I use.
Okay.
Yep, and I'll just show you real quick, like here. Hold on one second. So, oops. So just to give you guys a couple examples, this is a little statue of Tanner that I made for my wife and my mom and my mother-in-law. That was when he was 3, and he used to wear that all the time. But that's painted with craft paints, the cheap ones. And like this is one of the ones. Like this is another one of Batman punching Joker, and again, that's painted with cheap craft paints too. Not craft paints, craft paints. So this is so you don't. Once again, the whole thing that I try to get across to everybody is not expensive. I'm not sending anybody out to buy anything expensive. I like to make my own stuff, and I like to use cheap stuff, and you make it works just fine. So, but that's exactly what I use. So.
Okay. And you said the lips and the ranks, those are something that we can hand make with the guitar strings.
With guitar, with guitar strings, yep. So again, if you go to Hobby Lobby, they've got like brass tubing like this, and the brass tubing is what I use. And yeah, it's just different gauges. And these little tools, it's the fine gauge guitar string. So.
Okay.
Yeah, and Troy has links to where you can buy all the guitar string, the tubes, the brass tubing, just everything. We have links to it, so you can buy it online.
Okay. Anybody else? Right now? Okay. Everybody good? All right. So cool. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to jump right in. And even if you don't have the wire, aluminum foil, anything like that, just you can just do as best you can. Just use a ball of clay or something like that. So we're going to go a little bit longer tonight since I started off the intro for the first part. But I did pretty good. So I got almost like just about to the halfway point. So tonight, so what we're going to do is our subject matter. And we're going to show everybody at the end. Again, everybody, when you're finished with this, all the new people, you're not going to want to show your pieces because you're going to like feel like, oh, that's terrible. Trust me, everybody has started off there, and you know, it's just about getting through something. So it's more about the subject matter. So what I decided tonight is kind of easy. It's going to be, it's kind of because of the new It movie coming out. We're going to do Evil Clown. So everybody does an evil clown. So that's going to be it. So if you...
Hey, Troy, I have one question for people that don't have the dowels or maybe even wires. Is there a quick down and dirty way to get an armature in there so that it has resistance?
Yeah, if you don't have the wire and stuff, and everybody else you could start. I'm sure Amir's already like started. So so everybody else, go ahead and kick it off if you got what you need. If you don't have the wire and stuff right now, then you can do a couple things. If you've got just the dowel, then you could just go ahead and put the clay right on the dowel and just use that as your thing for now. If you don't have a dowel, all you have to do is just take some foil, take a big amount, and just ball it up and kind of do it tight, really tight so that you got a handle. The whole key is you don't want to be, as best you can, you don't want to be holding the sculpt in your hand. You always want something else that you're holding so that it's not, the more you hold on to this type of Sculpey, the more it's going to warm up in your hand and it's going to get softer and softer and harder to work with. So the less you could touch it, the better. So you can see Tanner right now, go ahead and show him. So Tanner's just starting to put clay right on there, and all he's doing right now is packing it on, and he's not worrying about details right now. One of the key things with new people is new people always worry about the details way too early. So you've got to think about it just like if you were building a house. You get your basic structure on there, then you put the walls on, put the roof on, you get inside, you start putting the interior. I mean, it's all a thing. You don't get down to setting up the flowers and stuff and the little tiny details until the very end. So, so first thing is, start getting your head shape. Figure out just what head shape you want to go to. And for things like the jams, not a lot of thought. You don't want to. You just want to start putting the clay on there and just kind of see what starts forming. And just for the sake of this, I'm just going to use this little foil thing that I just made for a handle. So I'm just going to go with that. And so, yeah, just when you wrap your foil also around your wire armature, you really want to make sure that you wrap it tight. The biggest thing is underneath, if your armature's loose or the foil's loose on your armature, you're going to have a really hard time with your sculpt later on. So if you wrap it around, say your wire, kind of like this here. I've got this one started. I'll do a piece of foil like this, and I'll kind of start maybe at the top or the bottom, and I'll really tightly with my fingers. I mean, I'm squeezing this really hard, and I'll wrap it slowly around like this, and I'll just keep going around. But once I'm done wrapping this, and I've got some shape there, I mean, it doesn't shift at all. It's not going to move on there. And that's the key thing, is you don't want that foil moving around or shifting at all. So, and eventually as everybody starts getting a little better and stuff, like I said, these jams, what they are is you know, certain people who are doing this right now, like say Mike and Amir, Clark starting to do this. The jams kind of get you in. It makes you do something fun. You can't think about it too long, and you just kind of blow through it. Most people don't keep their jam sculpts, But you might find one that you really like, and that's what Gannon has done with like his Frankenstein and Werewolf. But most of the time, like the guys that I just said, Clark, Amir, Mike, they're doing their own sculpts. They've got their own things going on, so they're producing something else. But the jams are just kind of to get together, have fun, do something that you're not stressing about. And when it's done, it's done. Just take some pictures, post them online. I just started updating. I finished updating most of the site today with the jam sculpts. So if anybody's got pictures of old ones you did, make sure you put them up in the right section. And so what I'm doing now is I'm just getting the head shape of my evil clown going. And I'm not even worried right now. I'm not worried right now even about the structure of his face. All I'm thinking about is just kind of the shape of his head. What do I want his head to look like? Do I want it to be round? Do I want it to be kind of oval? You're not thinking about, the hair. You're not thinking about a hat. You're not thinking about the eyes or anything. You first just want to get a nice little shape for his head. So you're kind of like, oh, that's kind of cool. And this is where kind of you're using your tools. And so this is one of my main tools right here. This is the one I love. I use this for most everything. So it's just kind of a flat spoon shape with a little thing on the end. And all I do is as I'm going, I'm just kind of putting it on there and I'm just kind of flattening it down. And then a lot of times I just use my fingers. So you just keep putting it on and I just keep going around like this. And just kind of smoothing it out. And again, I'm just starting to get like a head shape going. Oh, here, I took your stand too. There's your stand. Sorry. And as we're working, once again, anybody got questions or anything, I can keep answering. So don't be afraid to speak up. Most of the time during the jams, we're talking the whole way through. So this is just, the first session. So it's...
Mm-hmm. Now that the instruction part's done, can people turn on their microphones just
yeah.
Shoot the breeze?
Yeah.
I guess I should do a mic check to make sure you guys can hear me.
Yep, we heard you.
Got you, Larry.
All right.
I mean, at this point, if people wanted to even turn on their cameras, as long as it's not...
Oh, yeah.
Go...
Yep.
Might someone be quiet. Okay, man. Not you guys, I'm talking to her.
Now, the next thing you might want to do, once you've got kind of a head shape going, and the only thing I would say too is with your head shapes as you're doing it, I would try to think of like maybe an unusual shape instead of like most cases, instead of just doing a straight ball, just do it kind of a weird shape. So think about it more like maybe like a piece of fruit. So if you did something like shape of a pear, or if you did something like the shape of a watermelon, or like a squash or something, that's kind of a more interesting shape than just a circle.
But don't talk.
But once you've got your kind of basic shape on, then one of the other things you're going to want to do is, one thing you can do is you can take your tool and you can kind of figure out like where your center line is. So just come like straight down with the tool. So I got like a center line right there. And then figure out where you want the eyes to be. So if I put my eyes way up high, like up there, then he's going to have like a bigger chin or something like that. He's going to have a bigger lower face. If I put the eyes way down low, like way down here, then he's going to have a lot bigger forehead. So you got to kind of think about that too, like where, but that's, you put these on so you can kind of figure out like where you want the his features to start going. So put the straight line down the center and then just come across for where you want the eyes to be eventually. And then 2 more lines. You're going to do 1 more for where his nose is going to go. Like that's the bottom of his nose. And then the final one for like where his mouth's going to be. So eventually you're going to end up with this. You're going to be one line down the center, and then a line for the eyes, a line for the nose, and a line for the mouth.
Mom, let me see. It's right there, Wesley. Let me see. I'm just trying to do it. I'm not trying to do it. I'm doing an old man.
Come on, Wesley.
Be quiet.
Sienna used the last of my clay when I was at Wonderfest.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, I reclaimed some old jam sculpts, but I reached for my box and it was completely empty. Hey, she's sculpting. I'm happy with that.
Oh, I was Wonderfest, by the way. I saw a lot of videos and stuff. I'm totally jealous.
It was amazing. It was a ton of fun.
Oh man, if I was there, I would have spent all my money. Seriously, there was so many good stuff.
If you were there,
Oh,
you could have sold a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys saw the bust that you had made. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I really need to learn to plan ahead, man. Like I decided to go to the Sydney Supernova like a month before Sydney Supernova again. Like I only got to cast like 20 something. I was hoping I could do 50, but then
Well, that was better. Well, mine wasn't because of better planning. Mine was, like I said, because my moldering caster threw her back out, so I kind of got stuck in a bad situation. But
How you refer to her as your molding.
I need to teach my girlfriend how to mold and cast, so I can just be like, stay here for a whole day and just mold and cast for me.
well, that's what Steph does. Steph does all my molding and casting, which she's happy to.
I should introduce her to Melika and be like, hey, see, this is what they do for her, you know.
This is my casting sliver.
No. I have a question. If you want to do the molding and casting, is that also the stuff where you get from the Creative Wholesale, or do you go somewhere else to get that stuff?
That's a whole separate thing. So yeah, that's a completely different company, and
Okay.
and and that's something else that you guys are a ways away from that, but we will definitely cover that. And the nice thing is,
Okay.
it's not that it's difficult to do. It's really not. It's just a whole nother thing. So
Okay.
so once we get to the point where you guys are actually baking stuff and you got things that you really like, your best thing to start off with is going to be something small. So sort of like Tanner's magnets that he started off with. Those things like that are great to do. And they've got little trial kits of what you're going to be able to use. And I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to help you with all of that stuff. So it is the type of thing that, like, my daughter made little statues of her school mascot, and she would make little molds and casts of her school mascot, and she sold a few, like, to classmates and teachers and stuff like that. So so it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
What's your school's mascot? Have I seen that one?
No, it was a wildcat. It was when she was in elementary school.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. Yeah.
She has headphones on, so when she talks,
She's like really loud.
Oh,
I can tell her to be quiet because you guys can hear.
I can't hear you. I have the headphones on.
hey,
By the way, I saw this sculptor at one of the videos from WonderCon. He had these really beautiful female busts, like really, really nicely painted female busts, and I couldn't figure out who it was.
At Wonderfest? Are they? Are the that's Jesse. That's Jesse. Was one like the steampunk? She had like an outfit like
Yeah, that one.
Oh yeah, that's Jesse. That's Jesse. He he had amazing stuff on his table.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what's his page to follow his stuff because it was just like those female sculptures were so good.
It's garagekits.us. So he's on Facebook. You can find all the stuff, but it's garagekits.us.
Is he still selling paint kits?
Oh yeah, man, that was his biggest business. That was yeah. I think he does better at the paint kits now than anything else.
Yeah, because like now that I have the airbrush, I gotta get some paints. Because he sells them like flesh tone kits and stuff like that too, right?
Yes. Yep.
I've always heard that his
More of a
paints are
painter
better
than
than most.
Or what was that, Clark?
I've always heard that his paints are. I've never used them, but I've always heard that they're really good quality paints.
I've heard the
Yeah,
same.
he has a nice setup. I just didn't have money for paints this year, so I was putting it off a little bit.
What's the guy's name again?
Jesse Garcia.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Was it Garage Kit Colors? Is what it is? It does it have colors in the name?
It might, but I think if you go to GarageKits.us, I think he's got like links to it or something like that. So
Yeah, you can sign up on his forum and everything and see some of the stuff that's there. He's really into that Oz theme right now.
yeah, I'm going to be doing the monkeys for that set. I'm going to be doing the evil witches monkeys for that whole set.
You getting Tanner to pose for those?
Huh? You hear that? You hear that? Look, that's Clark. That's Clark knocking on you now. He said, I know who it is.
I mean, you've been here long enough that this stuff is gonna happen more and more often now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's fine with it. You think that I don't do it to him like all day long? So
Oh, he's in trouble. Don comes back, he's had it. I can't do the eyeballs.
Hey, Dawn hasn't showed up.
So I just heard I think it was John, I think you were talking about it. I just heard somebody talk about eyeballs.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so that's a good thing to kind of that we can kind of like I can tell you too. So at this point now, I just sculpt in my own at this point, but a lot of people, and I know a lot of the guys who are on right now, what you can do is you can pre-make eyeballs. So one of the best ways to do it is you can use ball bearings. You can use like just the kind that you can get. You can use like BBs or something like that, like anything like that. But you can also just, with your Sculpey, you can just like roll up like tons of little tiny like eyeballs like this and just put them on a pan and just bake a whole bunch of them and pre-bake them. And that's one of the other things about Sculpey that's really great, you guys, is that's something I didn't cover that I'll really quickly go over as you're working. Once you bake the sculpt and you're done, you can keep adding to it later on. So so if you get something to a stage, let's say that I'll finish, like for instance this, so with my Hulk sculpt, once I'm done with this, I'm gonna bake him before I do the hair. And that way, when I'm working on the hair, I'm not gonna mess up any of the features that are on there. So you'll be able to do the same, you'll be able to do the same thing. So you can get a sculpt to a certain stage, bake it, and then you can add on. Now the way that I do that is, I'll show you here. Okay, so in the store they've got this stuff, and it's called Liquid Sculpey, and it comes in a little jar like this, and it basically just looks like Elmer's glue. I mean, that's what it looks like, and but it's not sticky like Elmer's glue. It's almost more like lotion. It's almost more like lotion.
What's it called?
It's called Liquid Sculpey. So, and so here, I'll peel the label off so you guys can see it. And this is what I like to use when I want to add more to my sculpt. So there's the label. You can see it. Okay. And so what you do is, but then what I'll do is I'll take it and I'll empty this little container into a container like this that I can open up, and then I'll take a little brush like this, and then all you do is, once you've got your baked sculpt, you'll dip it in this stuff, in the liquid Sculpey, and you'll brush some on, almost like a top layer. And then what that does is it lets the new Sculpey hold on to your baked sculpt, because your baked sculpt is going to be really smooth. And if you don't put something on, it'll tend to slip off. But if you put this stuff on, it bonds it. So then when you rebake it again, which you can stick it back in and just rebake it, it'll bond to the old sculpt just perfectly. And you can do that over and over and over. And Gannon just did that like with his Frankenstein and his werewolf bust. He sculpted the body, sculpted the heads, he baked it, he pulled it out. There you go. Like, how many stages did you bake that, Gannon? How many times did you bake that?
This one I did 2 or 3. Like the hair was in a different stage, and then the inside of the mouth. Before I did the tongue and everything like that, I baked it to when I'm messing in there with my tools and I hit teeth. The teeth were already hard, and I wouldn't mess it up. And then
didn't you?
What's that?
You had that at the show, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah, I brought these to show because I'm learning along with everybody else. I mean, I haven't sculpted, so this is what I've been doing here for the last couple months. And these started out as jam sculpts, and I just took them to completion. Like the Frankenstein, like I did the hair.
Give him creepy lips.
Like I had the head all baked, and then I did the hair separately, so that when I was doing the hair, I wouldn't mess up like my eyes and my ears and stuff like that. And then same thing with the clothes. I did them naked first, and then I did the shirt. I baked it, and then I did the jacket, and then I baked it. So I baked him at least 3 times, and then the eyes also were pre-baked.
So every time you bake it, then you have to put the liquid Sculpey over it, and then
just over where you're putting new Sculpey.
Yeah,
so
only if you're adding. Yeah, only if you're adding new parts. You don't have to put the liquid Sculpey unless you're adding new parts to it.
Okay.
Right.
So at what point should this start looking like a clown?
Hey, just
When it starts looking like me.
don't worry. Listen. We've all had like on nights and off nights, and again, for your first session, get as close as you can. Just again.
Speaking of, how's everyone going with that piece that we all started like 3 weeks ago? Has anyone been working on theirs at all?
I finished mine.
I made a business.
So that's what I was working on. I wanted to get that done before the.
Amir's probably already got 3 or 4, and that's why he's saying this, you know.
No, it's like that kid that finishes homework and no one else has finished their homework in the class is like, so aren't you gonna check our homework?
Yes.
Hey,
Amir, let me copy off you.
Tanner wants to copy off your homework.
I need answers.
No, Tanner did his homework.
Yeah, dang it, you can have mine. It's not finished.
Tanner did his homework. His was the magnets.
Oh, how did they go at Wonderfest?
They sold out. He made.
They look fantastic.
Oh, do you hear that? They look fantastic. He made $70 for doing nothing. He was thrilled. So, well, no, not doing nothing. I don't mean to say doing. I know, I'm not doing nothing. I don't mean not doing nothing. I mean not doing manual labor, which is what he was trying to avoid in the first place. So.
What did you spend that $70 straight away on, Tanner?
Yeah, Amir, that quick, like. What do you think, Amir? Take a wild guess, just out of the blue. Like, what's a wild guess?
Terrible video game.
Witcher 3? Tell me you spend it on Witcher 3 because we're wasting your money.
No. He likes to get. He spends it on DLC. So.
Oh.
Because no good games are out right now.
Back in my day, there was no DLC. You just buy the game, you get the whole thing.
Well, but. Oh, now he's crying. Well, he can't see in the camera. You got to scoot over so he can see your tears.
Hey, this is Steve. I've got a question.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now just looking at Gannon's Frankenstein and Werewolf that he said you guys started as jams.
Uh-huh.
We're working right now just with heads.
Yep.
So we can add to the armature later and create the shoulders, the chest. Yeah, I'm assuming you build that up exactly the same way, foil and
exactly.
And
so
all, just like we're doing, but we can start with the head and just add all that later.
You could start with the head. Okay, so you know that little baby Captain America that I had on the table? That one, I did just the head. I baked it, and I did the whole body separate. And I didn't do it separate. Once I baked the head, I made the armature, and then I set the head on it, and I did out the rest of the body so he'd be in proportion and stuff like that. But yeah, you're going to find the more that you do this, the thing about the sculpting like this, there's no set way to do it. It's just a matter of once you get the basics down, you can take like a head that's baked, just drill into it, put some wire in there, and then make like, add stuff onto it like that way. It's really kind of rough and tumble, and like, it's just as long as you remember that you can bake and rebake, and you could just add to it. And, if I don't like something, if there's an arm or something that's not quite right and it's already baked, I'll literally just either cut it off, or I'll just break it, and I'll just add some epoxy putty and I'll extend it longer. The inside doesn't matter. It's all about like how it looks on the outside. So as far as your armature and stuff goes, you can just keep adding to that, as much as you need to. And like I said, when you get a stage that you really like, stick it in the oven and bake it. That way it's kind of solidified. You know that like, okay, I got this part down. So.
Yeah, by the way, the werewolf and the Frankenstein looked awful at the end of the jam sculpt. so it's not.
Well, no, it's Gannon. Here, it's a good idea for anybody to go onto the forum and make sure that you look at the original, like the jam sculpts that we've done, and you could see Gannon's Frankenstein and werewolf where they started at, and then you can see like where they are now. And you ought to put like a side by side right up in that same forum, Gannon, just to show.
Yeah, I can do that. I know it's in the. I think I've posted them both in the jam sculpt, like what I had, and I can post the finish in there, and then I also have my own thread where I've kind of got progress as I went. I think I even got, since I was out of my comfort zone, like me and my daughter shopping at Home Depot or Lowe's for stuff. So like I was pretty intimidated. Like at first to like get this stuff done, but what helped with the jam sculpts is like you can get like a graveyard of sculpts next to you, and like when we're sitting here like watching TV or something like that, I just whittle around with it.
You keep telling yourself you're gonna finish it at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Gannon actually did though. He actually finished his werewolf in his sculpt. Oh wait, no, Steve, don't show it yet. We show it at the end. Don't show it yet.
Actually, I wanted to ask you something.
Oh, okay.
That was the reason I was.
All right, go ahead. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So now, like, I'm just kind of chopping, just like cutting pieces in there. Obviously, you can smooth it out later. Is this a backward way of doing it, or is this kind of the way you guys do it? Or I mean, like, I would literally have to go online and look at pictures of ears right now, or have you guys turn your head sideways. But, I know the rough idea of the shape, and I'm just cutting wedges in there. Is that how you guys do it?
Totally.
Or...
So, yeah. So the way that you're doing it, so it's kind of like there's like with sculpting, there's just subtractive and additive sculpting. So subtractive is like what you're doing where you're using the loop and you're cutting away parts that you have to get rid of it. And then adding is, I always encourage people when you're adding onto your sculpt, just do little tiny balls of clay and just keep adding little bits, smooth them over, and start building up the shape that way. Now, as far as like you said with the ear, yeah, that's exactly what you're going to want to do, is that you're going to want to get your basic shape in, and then later on, you're going to want to go on and find references of ears and try to make it look as much like a real ear as you can. That's something that just takes time, and so every time, just try to make it look a little bit better. I really encourage people to like look up reference pictures of stuff. So whatever you're doing, if you started working on like a wolf, you know basically in your head kind of what a wolf looks like. The long snout, he's got long ears. You put it together, the basic shape, then go online and look up reference, and you can start really kind of getting in that detail. But it's a matter of, I can tell you, Steve, that so many sculptors have so many different methods of doing it. It's kind of, there's no tried and true way. It's whatever you're most comfortable with and you're getting good results with. If you're not getting good results, then first of all, there's a good chance that you've got the wrong tools. And that's where we have to really go over, like really getting the right tools, because it's so important. And it's like I told a lot of you standing at the table. The best example, and Gannon came up with this example for me. It's true. If you had the little tiny Warhammer figures and I said, paint this, and I gave you a house brush, you wouldn't finish and be like, oh my God, I stink at painting Warhammer figures. No, you're using the wrong tool. If I gave you a little tiny detail brush, then you'd be like, oh, this is so much easier now. It's the same thing with sculpting tools. If you're using the wrong sculpting tool, you may start getting frustrated and be like, oh, I'm no good at this. I can't sculpt. When in fact, you may just have the wrong tool on hand. So, you know, that's one of the things that, and one of the things I talked with Gannon about is I'm in the process now, and I'm going to try to put together my own kit of tools that are just basically Troy tools that people will be able to buy. And it's like the ones that I like to use. And, you know, it'll get you past a lot of that first stage.
Sure.
So, but the way that you're doing it, honestly, with what you got right there, you've got a good structure going on. So it's kind of like, you know, that's the stage where you're going to start kind of like detailing it out just a little bit more and stuff. But, you know, from what I could see.
Scales are giving me a problem.
What
do you use for scale?
Scales? So,
Yeah.
so scales. Yeah. I tend to, like Amir was asking me about the little baby Captain America, and like with the scales on there, I mean, I tend to do those individually, just because I like the way they look. And what I do with Sculpey is I just roll out like about 40 different little teeny tiny pinhead sized balls, and I just put them onto the sculpt, and I use my tool and I kind of mash it, and then I, you know, do that. The other thing you could do is if you find another tool, you could kind of dig in individually and raise it up, and you kind of do it like if you were laying like roof tiles down, you just overlap. So
Captain America's scales.
Say what now? I didn't hear you.
Isn't that what it was? Captain America's scale? Is that what you were talking about?
Yeah. The one on the little baby cap. Yeah.
Hey, I had a question about baking. Is the baking time different if you have a gas oven?
No, it's about the temperature. I mean, just as long as you get the temperature about right, like 250, then it doesn't really affect it. It's just literally about the temp. So
Okay.
The temp. Okay, so everybody got about 10 minutes, and we're gonna call it quits. So everybody's got 10 minutes.
So I already know that my biggest problem with sculpting is going to be time.
Well, but Larry, that's exactly what this is for, though. Trust me. That's, you know.
You're gonna find that like as you do this, you're gonna get really fast at setting up an armature. And you get as far as you can, like on the actual sculpt, but you'll be able to like get into a sculpt really fast.
Right.
Yeah, you just start throwing things on it and make it work.
I think my biggest hang up is just like basic form shape. I can't help it. I'm too picky.
No, but you won't be, and that's what this does. Every new sculptor comes in and they are too precious about their sculpts, and that's the whole point of this. Is this gets you past that, where when I tell you you've got to be done at a certain time, you got to be done, and that's really, as far as being a professional sculptor, that's what it comes down to. Every one of my sculpts that I've done, and I'll show you guys a couple when we're finished. I'll pull out a couple just to show you. All of my sculpts, I've never been 100% happy with any sculpt that I finished. Even that giant gorilla and Conan piece that you saw. It had to be done at a certain point, and I just had to say, okay, I'm done. And it had to go. And so every sculpt's the same way. There's a great saying that says like something to the effect of like basically every artist never finishes their work, they just abandon it. And that's really what it is. You get to a point where you just got to say, all right, that's what this is for now. It's
Jack Kirby would say that sometimes done is better than perfect.
And if you guys want to improve your skills, and if you want to be decent sculptors, it is about repetition. It is not about sitting down with one sculpt and making it perfect. That's why I encourage everybody, Make sure that you wrap plenty of foil around your things. Really bulk it out so you don't use a ton of clay, because you need to use a ton of clay to make a bunch of sculptures. What you think is a great sculpture is not nearly as valuable as 25 okay sculptures sitting on your table, because those are the ones that are going to get you better. He's like from a horror movie, like a horror.
You said, how many minutes? 10 minutes, Troy?
Okay, he's creepy. What's that?
You said 10 minutes?
No, little less. Got about, say, 7 minutes now.
Mine don't look like an evil clown. It looks like a Donald Trump.
That
Hey.
looks like a mannequin bust with eyebrows.
Everybody's going to be fine. Don't worry. Everybody's going to be fine. There's no, like I said, believe me, in this group.
Can't we just do a Bob's Burger
Jacked up.
themed one? Like, please.
No, we're not doing anything that you have an advantage at.
Dang it. Because I suck at this. Like the chicken of the sea. Look, it looks like this. Hold on.
Oh no, that's gone.
You can leave, Tanner. Just go make my bounty hunters.
Did you hear that?
I'm trying. Okay, I'm going with the main heroes first.
He knows. I told him.
I know, man.
But he will get to the bounty hunters eventually. Yeah, I reused that clay, but I took pictures of everything. It's
Ones
already
that have
online.
like 10 seconds of screen time, you mean, Clark?
Yes.
Amir, you're not going to start knocking Star Wars now, are you? Is that your goal? Is just to knock everything?
Sounds like he's gonna start.
I know, just knock everything that I love. That's like,
Sculpting sucks.
I know that'll be, yeah. Amir, Tanner's right. That'll be your new thing. You'll start saying, sculpting's kind of stupid.
Something is kind of stupid. I hate it so much. That's why I do it so much.
That's me.
You've got the bug though now that you're to the point where it's hard for you to imagine doing anything else.
Yeah.
Amir, when is your con coming up? Like, what are the dates?
Next weekend, so it's 15, 16, 17.
Oh wow!
Cool. That's awesome.
Do you know what the attendance is like?
It's the biggest one in, I guess you could say, in between the states. So, yeah, it's gonna be like a couple of thousand people.
Well, I think
It's not gonna be as big as like conventions in US. But, it's one of the biggest ones here.
Now, is it a kind of a model kit convention, or is it a comic book convention? Like,
Nah, it's a pop culture convention, so it's everything.
Okay.
Yeah. We don't have any. Usually conventions here, it's just like everything.
If Louis Joyce is there, tell him I said hi.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, I know Chris Hemsworth is gonna be here, and I'm making a bust for him.
Okay.
So just gonna send it his way.
Yeah. Well, you got to wait for him to come around by your table,
Sorry.
So I said you got to wait for him to come around by your table. So you know what I think. You know what I think your biggest problem is going to be at this convention? It's going to be people walking up to your table going, "That's not a Wolverine. This is a Wolverine." All right, that's the award. Hey, that's the award for dumbest joke of the night.
Nah, they're probably just gonna come up and be like, "How much? $40 reduce? No."
Dollar dues. I'll trade you a kangaroo for that Wolverine. I've got a pocket full of koalas. Okay, second dumbest joke of the night.
But if you ever come this way, I will take you kangaroo feeding. You can go pet kangaroo and feed them.
All right. I want to go kangaroo boxing. I've got my gear.
You know how mom gets when you just normally box.
Nah,
I'm pretty sure if you go further, like really far into the country and go to like some of the outback towns, you'll find some of that they're doing dodgy kangaroo boxing.
yeah, no, I'm tough. I can take a kangaroo. All right, all right. Hey, 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Start putting your final touches on it.
That's like me saying, I'm tough. Take on a tiger.
Final touches, he says.
I told you. Look, you know what? Here's the funny thing, though, Larry. You already sound like everybody who started on this. Everybody said the exact same thing starting off. Like it was like the same type of thing. Like, oh, geez. But see what you're finding though is exactly what you need. This makes you have to rush through it, and you have to.
No, I'm genuinely not discouraged by
Yeah.
it or anything.
Well,
I have to comment.
you should be because I've seen your sculpt. So no.
Low blow.
I know. See, look, come on, we have fun. We have fun. So
I did the eyeball thing, and I
Not
I
cool.
still can't.
That was
Yeah.
With eyelids on it and all that. I can't get that.
Too far.
it'll come. It'll come. Just like I said, get it as close as you can.
Yeah, part of what helped me was like learning to, after I had a bad sculpt, learning to turn the bad sculpt into a good sculpt. Like, figure out what I liked about it and then doctor it the next day. But just having something started was really helpful.
And like I said, everybody who's just starting off, the only thing I tell you is just when this is done, make sure that you take some pictures of it. Not too close up, kind of set it away from you a little bit. Even if it's with your phone or something like that, take some pictures. You're going to want to see like these early ones just starting off. And we like to post them so that everybody can kind of see what everybody does. Because
What do you want to email them to you?
well, I put up on the forum. So once you go to the forum, there's for like tonight, I'll have a little topic up there that says evil clown. And all you'll do is you'll post it right there on the forum. And we'll see, who it is posting, and we'll keep track of it that way. So,
Chicken of the Sea up? Yeah.
no, I'll put that up tonight. I got a bunch of old ones up that weren't there today, Clark, and that was the last one. So I'm putting Chicken of the Sea up, like tonight, along with this. So that'll be up there.
Jessica Simpson will be thrilled.
What?
Sorry.
What's that?
I was going to say, what do you want, like a straight on and a profile of each side?
That's what I like to do. I like to do it from so generally I like to it's best to get it like straight and then to the side this way and to the side that way. So that way we can kind of see like just what it looks like. Because a lot of the jam sculpts, John, they don't even have backs on them. Like there's nothing on the back. So it's just about the front picture. And then once it's done, you can keep it or not keep it. So it's really up to you. So, all right. And that's time. So,
Look at Larry.
oh no, I'm gonna go through and so everybody click off your camera and I'm just gonna name who's gonna go up. So I'm gonna click off my camera as well. Okay. And we're going to start off with Mr. Jim. Jim is going to start us off tonight.
All right. That is awesome, Jim.
Hey, he looks like a real clown. Check that out.
Oh, very cool.
Let's see.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
nice.
I like. Very nice, Jim.
Yeah, we're
See,
but we can't see.
Oh, put it back up. No, that's the wrong one. Oh, that's your daughter's. Oh, that's your daughter's. Oh, very good. Very nice.
Did we see this again? We missed it.
Put yours back up, Jim.
That's the wrong one. Oh my god.
That's fine. So he looks a little bit like that.
That's good.
Very nice. Okay. All right. John and Tammy, you guys are already on screen, so you guys can go now.
Yeah, well, mine's not evil.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
That's all right. That's okay.
Well, I can't even hold
I don't know.
it right. Hold on a minute.
Tammy, listen, with those Hey.
Wait, I'm going off the screen.
with those pucker lips, he's still kind of creepy.
He has a brain on the back.
Oh, the brain. Hey, listen, for holding it like that, still,
I think you look beautiful.
listen, he looks good. I'm telling you, that looks good. That looks good. You did good. All right, John, let's see what you got.
Okay, it looks like Trump and George Jones had a baby.
I like his poop hat.
Yeah. I tried to put a ball in his nose, but it didn't work out.
Now you know what you guys did good. You guys did really good. I'm telling you. I think All right. Let's go with Clark. I'm gonna go new guy, old guy, new guy, old guy.
All right.
That's not nice.
I need to go.
Let's see, Clark. Oh wow. Oh, very nice.
It's very nice.
I would not.
Are those black balls for eyes?
Yeah, I stole the mirror's trick.
Very nice.
Very
I
nice.
would not want to try to mold and cast that. Okay. All right. All right. We're gonna go with Lance. Let's see, Lance.
And I don't know, is my mic working?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. We can hear you. All right.
Hey, how am I gonna do this?
Put him up close. Yeah. There you go. That's better. That's better without the light. Yeah.
There we go. Cool.
Oh, nice.
He's actually kind of cute.
Wait, move over. There you go. He is kind of adorable. I like him. Good job. Nice job. Nice ears. I like the ears on him. Okay, very nice. All right, now we're going to go with Gannon.
Because I have to take, well, I'm not taking a picture of yours.
So here's Gannon. Oh, good. Dude, so, you know what? It's still in your style, too. That's what's so funny, is it's totally still your style.
Well, you know me. I drew like a picture first to kind of
I like the
have
small.
something to shoot.
Oh, let's see your picture. Show us your picture. Come on.
Like,
You know we're all gonna give you crap for it.
Ah,
Oh, nice.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Gannon, he plans everything out before he does it.
Dead.
It's like,
Wait.
Done.
So within the jam session, you drew up the concept, and then
Listen, Larry, Gannon does that all the time. He's showing off.
Have to overlook it.
He's showing off. Okay, so since Larry spoke up, Larry, you go.
oh jeez, awesome.
All right, there you go.
All right. Wait.
Let's see. Oh yeah, he looks good.
Yeah.
He looks good.
The light.
You got to stick a little ball on the end of his nose though, just to give him the full clown reference.
My sense of where the camera is really.
That's
off.
okay. That's all right. We got him. He looks good.
All right.
You got all the basic structure in, so you're still on the right road. So, all right. Let's go with Mike.
All right.
See what Mr. Fleming
You
is.
see me or no?
Nope. No. Okay. Oh, here we go. And
Here we go.
wait a minute. Hold on.
oh, nice.
Oh no, I can't see anything. I can't see anything.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Ah.
Really cool.
Okay, wait. Stop.
Very
Stop.
good.
Mike, flip your camera on and off again, because I can't see anything.
I can't hear anything.
Wait. Mike, flip your camera on and off again real quick, because I just see a black screen.
When I shot two guys, they were like in
Try it again.
and it like shot their heads off like at the same time.
I still can't.
Yeah, Troy.
I can't see it. All right, just make sure you post
Man,
pictures.
it's so good, Troy. You're missing
Yeah,
out.
I really
so
is.
much right
Thank
now.
you, Amir. Thank you. I
Troy,
knew.
you're getting your goat. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, just take a picture of it for the forum so Troy can see.
Thanks,
it.
Amir.
All right.
right.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
All right.
You're
Yeah.
really good.
Okay. All right. Let's go with John number 2. Let me see. Oh, I thought. Wait, is he not on here anymore? Oh, I don't see John. I thought we had other John on here.
Yeah, there were two.
Nope. I guess he popped off for some reason. I don't know. Maybe he had. I don't know. Maybe he had to go. Okay. All right. Then instead, let's go with Steve. Steve, let's go with yours.
All right.
There we go.
Okay, so
Oh, very cool.
Oh, I like his eye. I like the eye. Yeah. That one, the scarred over eye. Oh yeah, he's got like he's the deformed clown. I like that, dude. That's
Very cool.
That's a great concept. Very nice. Nice job. Yeah, I dig him.
okay, thank you.
Very nice. Very nice.
You know,
Okay, so we got. Let me see. Clark, Amir, and I guess it's us, right?
Yep.
Is it us? Okay, so me and Tanner. So here we go. All right, so we got Tanner's. It's his super creepy clown from a horror video game, I think.
That's cool, Tanner.
And it's got tape. He's got tape over the. He's got tape over the mouth. So very
Very cool.
very freaky. And then
When did I say it was from a video game?
I said it was. I said it looked like something out of a video game.
Kind of.
And then there's.
Oh, nice.
Oh, man.
That's it. I'm taking my ball and going home.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Hey, listen,
I
Larry.
can do that. I just don't want to.
See, exactly. Look, Larry, the way that you feel right now, that's how I feel when we do the drawing jam and Gannon puts his up. We all feel like that with Gannon. It's like, wait till you see his drawing. So anyway, yep. But cool. So, all right. Well, that was it. So, new people, you got to see kind of. This is sort of what it is. As we go further, like I said, we'll start off the beginning with next time we do this, next week is the drawing, and then the week afterwards is sculpting again. We go like that. What I try to tell people is when you come to the meeting, have a few questions down that you want me to answer, or show me something. Like you could just put it on the camera to show me. And we'll usually spend like maybe just the first 10 minutes or so on questions and stuff. And then we jump right into the jam. And then it just becomes just a fun thing for the rest of the time. Just kind of like what we were doing. So it's just kind of talking and stuff like that. Go onto the forums. Make sure you check out the first couple videos just to kind of keep, the beginning stages. And keep doing what we did tonight. Just keep practicing. I encourage everybody to, like Amir did a whole bunch of like magnets, just head magnets. Clark, I know, has been doing like some Christmas ornament stuff. So if you're just doing like heads, they're a lot easier to work on than the full bodies. And we'll get to the full bodies. But for now, this is a great way to practice that you could just work on one, but force yourself to do it and then kind of do as much as you can and then move on to the next one. Just get to where you're kind of bumping up your speed a little bit. And then email me or hit me up on Facebook if you got any questions. And if it's something that I can't answer in a text, I'll either call you on the video or I'll send you a little video of how to do something. And, but right now you kind of understand the basics. Everything you did tonight is basically what you need. It's mostly just practice. It really is practice. So cool.
Now,
Well, yep.
on Facebook, is it Troy McDevitt or is it something?
No, it's Troy. Yeah, it's Troy McDevitt. Troy McDevitt. Yep. And you'll see at my header, it's all my mini busts. So it's no denying like who it is. So, and my avatar is if you see it, it's this. That's my avatar.
Oh, okay.
So that's it. So,
Thanks, Troy.
Yep.
Thanks a lot. I really appreciate it.
Hey, man, thank you. Thank you, everybody. I'm so glad you guys joined up. I think you're going to have a lot of fun. I think you're going to find that you've got some talent in there that you didn't know you had. So.
Are you still going to show a couple sculpts?
Oh, yeah. I'll show you real quick. I'll show you some of the ones like, so, let me see.
Yeah, and if we have a second, Amir, I'd like to see what you're taking to the show. Like I saw the picture. I'd like to see him up close. If you have him.
Yeah, I'll just get him. Give me a second.
this is one of the big ones that I'm working on right now that nobody's seen online. So it's kind of like our Patreon exclusive, but that's one.
So print screen. Wow.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So this one is, and like I said, he's mostly bulked out with a lot of aluminum foil, like on the inside. So, and then I've got the big armature to hold him in place. So, but that's
almost hit me in the face with this.
Almost punched you. But you can see like how big he is. Like here's my fist next to him. So.
Is his face epoxy or is that just like firm?
Is it what now?
Is it epoxy or is it firm?
Oh no, it's the regular Sculpey with a little bit of gray mixed in, but it's this just with a little bit of gray. But it's baked already, so okay. Yeah, but it's sometimes for the smaller stuff I'll mix in a little bit of gray, mostly just for the color because it's easier to see flaws and stuff like that. So.
How big is your oven? Man.
I was gonna say, how you gonna bake that one?
So that one, what I actually had to do, I've done a couple Hulks that are that big. Another sculptor put up a tutorial one time on how to make an oven out of a 55-gallon drum. And so that's what I did. I made an oven out of a 55-gallon drum, and that's what I bake those in. So,
wow.
Yeah, and basically all you do is you just get a drum and you rig the inside of it with an electric heater, kind of like you got for like a skillet that you turn on, and you just crank it up and you leave it in there for a long, long time, and it bakes perfect. So.
Wow.
Now, when you drill, this stuff, the Sculpey says it's okay to drill it after it's baked. It won't crack it.
Nope.
So I need to hold it to hang the wire.
Nope. It's just like baking into like drilling into like softer stone or kind of like yeah. I mean, but it doesn't shatter like stone or something like that. So you drill right into it. It drills really, really nice as long as your drill bit's not really dull. It puts holes in it like super easy. And then if you're putting aluminum wire on the inside, then you just, you might put some epoxy putty or you might put some like epoxy glue down in there just to hold it in place and just go from there. So, but yeah, I drill.
What do you mean? Make a hole and then fill it in with epoxy and then when it's done baking, drill it out?
No, put your eye ring in it that you're going to use to hang.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Put it in there.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right. Okay, I misunderstood.
That's okay. That's all right.
I'm like excited.
Yeah, I'm glad. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to see where you guys where you guys take this and stuff like that. So.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good time.
Hey, Troy, before we sign off, I just wanted to see Amir's.
Yeah, me too.
That he's taking this from. Yeah.
Me too.
Give me a second.
Oh, shit, Amir.
Be quiet.
This is the Wolverine that I did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Love that face.
He looks great. He's big. He's bigger than I thought. You can never judge scale on the pictures, so.
Yeah, he's about almost like 6.5 inches. So.
Yeah, he looks like he's almost quarter scale.
There is Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z.
Vegeta.
Did you hear Tanner? Tanner went, "Oh, Vegeta."
Do you say Vegeta?
Oh, I thought that's what you said.
Vegeta.
Vegeta. Oh, okay. Sorry. I don't know.
There is Harley Quinn with a lot of assets.
Yeah, she has beautiful hair.
She has a great personality.
Yeah, she's a nice person.
Yes.
Yeah.
Smart dude.
He's I'm kind of proud of.
Yes. Yes.
And there is Goku. This guy was a pain in the bum to cast. Like.
Oh yeah.
I hate him.
I know.
So much.
Yeah.
I'll bet.
That kind of hair for sure.
Oh, there was so much fixing up to do on his hair for every single cast. I'm never gonna do anything like this again.
Yep.
How long did Harley Quinn take to sculpt?
Each of them took just 1 day. So I did each of them for a day.
Wow.
So, yeah.
But that's the whole thing, though. He's like, he's got when Amir came on, he was already sculpted. He already had like a lot of figures done and stuff like that, so he was well on his way. I just helped make him perfect. So.
And he actually does. And also, this is a clown.
Oh. Oh wait. Oh Amir, I forgot. Oh Amir, I forgot. I was saving you for last. Oh, dude.
Time we were on tonight.
That's
you
awesome.
Just did that tonight.
Wait. Put it back up. Put it back up. Put it back up. Let's see. Oh yeah.
Are those the pre-sculpted eyes that you were talking about earlier? Or...
I just bought a bead necklace, like these glass beads, and I just took off the beads out of it, and I just used them as eyes.
See, I told you. I told you all.
I'm using the white beads now, and I'm using the black beads.
Yeah.
So I saw Clark use the black ones. I was like, screw that.
Yeah.
I'll start using white ones now.
Yeah, but see, just like I told all you guys that Amir was sculpting while we were talking. So.
Yeah, I started yesterday. Troy told me.
Yeah, exactly. No, you just gotten like crazy fast, so that's awesome. So cool. All right. Well, look,
We missed Amir's clown. Just real quick, did we miss anybody else's clown? Was there anybody that didn't get to show their clown?
No, I don't think so. I'm glad you remember that, though. I was letting Amir go. I know Amir likes to go like last, so I was trying to let him go last, and I ended up forgetting him.
It's okay, Troy. I know it's not personal.
Listen, Amir, I accidentally forgot you. So.
Hey, it's not your fault. You like Peter Jackson's King Kong, so it's okay.
God, it's getting old. Okay. Anyway, and that's where we're gonna call it a night. So Amir had to ruin the mood. We were all having a good time, and then Amir wanted to ruin the mood. So, all right, everybody. Well, listen, everybody new. Thanks for coming. I'm glad you all signed up. I think we're gonna have fun. So, like I said, ask me a ton of questions, and keep sculpting, keep practicing, and we'll see you. Like I said, anybody who wants to come next week for the drawing jam, everybody's welcome, and and that's about it. So we got a lot of cool stuff. Oh, wait, Gannon, do you want to? Should we real quick talk about our basic idea for next year?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So Gannon and I, this is very cool. So Gannon and I came up with this on the way back from Wonderfest. So what we're going to do for next year is we're going to have 2 tables. So we're going to have one table that is going to be set up similar to what Gannon and I had. Gannon and I are going to purchase another table, and it's just going to be for the Patreon members. And you guys, everybody will be able to sell 2 sculpts. So you could send in castings, or you could bring in castings of anything, and whatever you make, you get to keep. And then we'll have whoever can come to the show will man the booth, and we'll have Troy and Gannon stuff on the booth as far as like we're trying to keep selling the Patreon. But you guys, if you finish stuff and mold it and cast it, it's going to be for everybody who's a member of Patreon. You'll be able to do it. So that kind of gives you incentive from now until next year to work on your skills and, eventually learn how to mold and cast. And then, like I said, whatever you can get on the table, you'll have a table like at Wonderfest to sell your stuff. And Amir, you could send stuff. That's why I put a limit of 2, because I figured we'd get a box from you with about like 12 different sculpts. And I told Gannon, I don't want this to be an Amir table, which is what it would be. So
I'm gonna send you a quarter scale. I'm gonna send 2 quarter scales, like
hey, you know what? That'll bring more people to the table, so that's fine. Hey, you're the one paying for shipping costs, so I don't care. So.
And from Australia, dude, it's not cheap.
So anyway,
from the globe, you're about as far away to America as you can be.
Yeah.
You're like on
so,
the other side.
Yeah. So anyway, so Amir's going to be sending little tiny like things this big, like
Magnets.
But anyway, but keep that in mind. So this is like I said, this is
impact magnet sets.
Yeah. So this it's available, like I said, to all of you. The only stipulation we're doing is, like I said, the 2 pieces per person. And basically, anybody who wants to sell on the table obviously has to be with the Patreon until we get to that point. So hopefully you all stick with it. That'll be it. But we just figured that would be a really cool thing for everybody to be able to do. So you guys don't have to individually try to buy a table or something like that. So So
And it also just gives you something to shoot for. Like,
Yeah.
picture something, mold it, cast it, and have a few castings ready.
and listen, if this guy can get something done for Wonderfest, then all of you can get something done for Wonderfest, right? Right?
The more you talk, the more I lose hope that I'm going to see my bounty hunter set before Christmas.
No. You don't understand how bad he wants the money. Trust me, he'll get them done. So
I definitely want to get a set of those.
see that? I know you got 2 more people. See?
Yay.
So all right. Well, listen, everybody, we're going late, so I want to go ahead and cut it off so everybody can get going with the rest of their night. So thanks for showing up. And like I said, hit me up.
Thank you.
And that's it. So thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Hey, it's nice meeting everybody.
You too.
All right, thanks for seeing everybody.
Have a good night. Night, everybody.
Right.
All right, bye-bye.